Let's take a moment and review where we've been so far. We started with reasoning out the answer to the question, is there a God? We mostly use scientific evidence, specifically DNA, to point toward obvious intelligence and specific design. Then we put that DNA evidence next to the evidence of the nature we see around us and its power, like storms and hurricanes and sunsets and rainbows. All of this gave us enough evidence to support a decision that God does indeed exist. Then we moved on to the Bible, or God's Word, and how we can be assured it is exactly what it claims to be, God's Word. We talked about how the Bible is scientifically accurate. For example, even before our science made some bold claims, such as the earth being round, the Bible specifically told us it is. We talked about how its overall message in its original languages never contradicts itself among all 66 books within the Bible. We learned how impossible that fact is just by playing a little game to see how our stories would differ from each other without 1,600 years and 40 different human authors from all different walks of life. Both of these lessons included a measure of faith. The Bible clearly defines faith for us. Hebrews 11:6 says, "And without faith it is impossible to please him, for the one who comes to God must believe that he exists, and that he proves to be one who rewards those who seek him." And Hebrews 11:1 says, "Now faith is the certainty of things hoped for, a proof of things not seen." So without faith, it's impossible to please God, for the one who comes to God must believe that God exists, and that God proves to be the one who rewards those who seek him. To fully accept and believe there is a God, and that he is the God of the Bible and the Bible is his written word, there is an element of faith necessary. However, in light of all the proofs we discussed, it's important to remember that God gives us plenty of evidence and support for that faith. It's not a blind faith. Next, we zoomed in on God's creation of humanity, his original design for us. He created us differently than all the other living things he created. He fashioned the first human with his hands and not just with his words, like the rest of creation. Then he gave humanity the honor of holding dominion over all other creation God had made. He then also gave us purpose to care for and tend to God's creation. But pride wormed its way into the hearts of the first two humans, and one was deceived and sinned, and the other willfully chose to sin, both disobeying God's only command for them. This ushered in imperfection, or sin. God cursed the created world to suffer from the effects of sin. He also cursed Satan, the deceiver, to be destroyed or crushed by the offspring of the woman, Jesus Christ. Soon we'll see exactly how Satan was crushed, and make no mistake, he is completely and totally defeated for eternity. We learned that sin had progressed to the point that the only thoughts humanity had were evil. Their hearts were evil. God is holy, and perfect holiness cannot allow sin to destroy and to run amok. God was grieved in his heart because he has emotions, which is why we have emotions. We're made in his image. He decided to send a global flood to destroy mankind and all air-breathing, land-dwelling animals, insects, and birds from the earth. Remember, God created the world. Therefore, he owns the world and can do whatever he wants with it. Never forget, only he has that authority, no matter how much we would like to think otherwise. However, because God's wrath towards sin always offers mercy, he chose one man, Noah, and Noah's family to be saved through the flood. They were not spared from experiencing the flood. They were spared from the consequence of it, from death. Today, we're going to see what happened after the flood as Noah's sons began to repopulate the earth over time. We'll see if people learned from the mistakes of the past.